On the surface, Elden Ring Nightreign is a snatch and grab boss rush mode that is absolutely phenomenal and a ton of fun. However, there are a ton of different buffs and attributes that you can stack in this game that can go unnoticed if you have no idea what you're doing. So in this video, I'm going to go over every single stackable buff as well as buffs and things you should look out for on your run in order to better equip you to have a more successful win on any Night Lord in the game. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, first and foremost, I want to go ahead and give credit where credit is due. All the information I found in this video comes from a spreadsheet that I saw on Wisdom V3's channel. He does a great breakdown of a few of the different aspects, but I wanted to go into full detail, and I will leave this entire spreadsheet down in the description below so you guys can all have it for yourself. But massive shout out to him and the creator of this spreadsheet, who I don't know personally, but whoever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now let's go ahead and start with the basics, as these are going to be pretty straightforward. However, I will go into a little bit of detail as to what you want to do anytime you find one of these in your expedition. First off, the increased maximum HP or the increased maximum FP is going to increase by 1.1 to 1.5 times, and yes, they do stack, so you can get these multiple times on your run. And if you're looking for more HP and FP, this is definitely the role you want to go. You can also look at reduced FP consumption, and this is going to be really great for casters such as Recluse and Revenant, as this is going to allow you to have lower FP cost by not only your spells but also consumables by 0.9 times or 0.85 times. Now, similar to increased maximum HP and FP, you can also get increased maximum stamina. This is going to increase your stamina by the exact same amount, 1.1 to 1.15 times, and that doesn't seem like much. However, once you're in a very long boss fight, or if you're using a character like Iron Eye, who is a constant stamina hog, this is going to be really nice, and it's always something that I grab when I'm playing as him. Now, this next buff is called the Integration of Intelligence, and it does spawn when you get the sentient pest to spawn in your actual expedition, not the end Night Lord. However, if you do kill the sentient pest, you will get this buff, and it's going to allow you to get an insane amount of runes if you kill enemies on rare occasions. What that means is you are going to sometimes shoot an enemy or kill an enemy in Nightreign, and they have a chance to give you 10,000 runes. It can be any enemy in the game, but it is very rare. It just needs to be stated that this is what the Integration of Intelligence does. The second buff we're labeling as Exploration buffs, more runes defeated when you kill enemies. This is going to increase your rune gain by 1.1 times. Now, this doesn't sound like much, but over the grand scheme of your entire expedition, this can turn out to be quite a large number. So anytime I see this in my expeditions, I typically pick it up unless there is a better option there, but this is really good, especially at the beginning of your expedition. Now, to wrap up our stat and exploration section in terms of your buffs, everything from increasing your maximum HP to getting more runes to the Integration of Intelligence, all these things can stack except for the Integration of Intelligence. That is a one and done type of buff. However, everything else we've just discussed so far stacks, and the next few buffs are also going to stack as well. These are going to be some of our offensive buffs, things like improved physical attack power, improving perfume arts and throwing pots. All of these things are going to be able to be stacked. Now, the improved physical attack power is going to raise your physical attack anywhere from 1.06 to 1.09 times. Your improved affinity attack power is going to work a little bit differently. This is going to raise attack power of magic, fire, lightning, and holy affinities, however, not by as much as it would the physical damage. This is going to raise them by 1.05 times or 1.08 times, just a little bit less than the physical damage we just discussed. Now, the improved perfume arts, throwing pots, and improved roar and breath attacks, all of those are going to give you an increased damage by 1.2 times its original value. Now, once again, all this sounds very small, but everything that we have mentioned so far in this section is going to be stackable, so you can get this multiple times to watch those numbers get larger and larger. And I also forgot to mention that when you get your improved sorceries and incantations options, this is also going to raise the potency of those two things. However, it's going to raise them by a little bit less than the previous items, which is only going to be 1.07 times, but it is stackable, so you can go for this if you want to. Now, when you find yourself looting an attack boost of either dragons, life forms born from falling falling stars, or those who live in death, all of those are going to give you an extra 1.2 times damage against those particular enemies. Now once again, all three of those buffs we just mentioned are going to be stackable, so if you find yourself fighting more of those enemies than not, and you get multiple opportunities to get this buff, it may be a good idea to start stacking them to watch your damage rise higher and higher. Another buff you can get is Communion grants anti-dragon effect. This is going to cause your Dragon Communion incantations to add an anti-dragon effect to a right-handed armament. This is going to increase damage to ancient draconic enemies by 1.2 times and draconic enemies by 1.3 times for 45 seconds. Now, if there is blood loss in the vicinity and you have a chance to get the blood loss in the vicinity increases your attack power, you will be getting an extra 1.2 times damage for 20 seconds when bleed is activated. This does stack, and the previous Communion grants anti-dragon effect does not stack. So anytime you're going for a bleed build with, say, Executor, this is definitely one you want to look out for, as you are going to absolutely bleed through everyone. Now, every once in a while in Nightreign, I will be graced to be able to get off the critical hit. So when you get damage boosted after critical hit, or critical hits inflict blood loss, the enemy's damage is going to be decreased by 15%, allowing you to do more damage to them after a critical strike. And when it comes to the blood loss, your critical strike are going to add 50 blood loss buildup to your weapon after you enact the critical strike. Getting yourself the improved thrusting counterattack is going to enhance counterattacks unique to thrusting weapons, and it's going to give you plus 1.2 times damage. And if you get improved stance breaking, where you can break stances easier, it's going to increase your poise damage by 1.1 times to 1.15 times. Both of these buffs I just mentioned are stackable, so you could be a stance breaking machine. You also have the opportunity to get increased sorcery and incantation duration. This is going to increase the duration of buff spells by 2 times. Now this next buff is going to be activated once you defeat Margit the Fell Omen, once he surprise ambushes you. It's called Traces of the Grace-Given Lord. Now this is going to allow newly found grace sites to raise your attack power. How this works is each time you discover a grace, you're going to get an increase in attack power by 1.02 times for each of the graces discovered. This is going to stack up to 10 times, so your attack power can be absolutely cracked if you find as many graces as possible after you receive this buff. Now for the buff Demon's Plating, this is going to be a buff that you get after paying the Demon Merchant that is the lesser version of Libra on one of your expeditions. He will typically curse you and you will have to go find him on your expedition, but once you pay him, he's going to enhance your power depending on the runes in your possession. He will increase your damage by 1.04 times for every 10k runes up to 50k runes you have. Now, if you have up to 100k runes after that 50k mark, he will still increase your damage, but it will be by 1.02 times instead of 1.04. Regardless, if you have a ton of runes, you're going to get a real nice damage spike. Now, the buff you get for beating the Estelle in the Shrouded City is not only going to allow you to rise up from death a single time, but it will also make you more powerful for a short time after you arise. Now, there is no data currently on what exactly that power is going to do after you rise up again, but coming back from life for free is pretty much a no-brainer, so you definitely want to snag this when you get the Shrouded City. When you have the Mountaintop Shifting Earth and you grab the Favor of the Mountaintop, this is going to half the frostbite damage and frostbite buildup you receive, and nearby frostbite is going to actually boost your attack. It will reduce the damage of incoming frostbite buildup by 0.5 times and increase the damage by 1.15, and this is almost a 100% must grab anytime you have the Mountaintop Shifting Earth. Now this next section of buffs is going to be about 5 or 6 defensive buffs that we're going to break down and tell you exactly what goes on when you choose these in your expedition. First and foremost, you get improved physical damage negation buff. This is going to increase your physical damage negation by 12% and up to 18% because this is stackable. You can also get improved non-physical damage negation, which is going to boost magic, fire, lightning, and holy damage negation, increasing the damage negation of all those affinities once again by 12% up to 18% because this is stackable. Now, you can also get a buff that creates holy ground at low HP. What this is going to do is it's going to create that holy ground when you get right below 20%, and it's going to heal you for 10 HP per second by 20%, and it will last for 35 seconds. This may be self-explanatory, but it is not stackable, so you will not need to grab this multiple times on a run. For improved poise buffs, it's going to reduce your incoming poise damage by 0.75 times. However, this is also stackable, so raising your poise has never been a bad thing in any Soulsborne game. All Resistances Up buff is going to raise resistance to all ailments, increasing status resist by 57 to 75. For improved dodging, you're going to get longer invincibility windows for evasive maneuvers, and this is going to be +3 iframes on dodge, and Duchess's backstep, because her dodges are specific to her, is going to be a +1 iframe. And for our last defensive / regenerative buff, Fervor of the Rotten Woods, this is going to be the buff you get for going into the Rotted Woods shifting earth. This is going to nullify Scarlet Rot and increase your max HP. It's going to increase your maximum HP by 1.25 times, and attacks are going to heal the user after taking damage for a short period of time. Now, the very last section of this video is going to have to do with regenerative buffs. So starting from the top, HP restoration on successful attacks is going to restore 3 HP on continuous attacks, and the FP restoration on successive attacks is going to restore 10 FP on continuous attacks. For your HP recovery from successful guarding, it's going to restore 2 HP on successful guards, and if you're trying to restore your FP and get FP recovery from successful guarding, that is going to restore 2 FP on successful guards. When it comes to your critical hits restoring your HP or your FP, critical hits are going to restore max HP times 0.18 on critical hits, and it's also going to restore your max FP times 0.01 on critical hits. Every single thing that we've talked about when it comes to restoration so far is stackable, so definitely make sure to look out for these on your expeditions. And speaking of stackable buffs, one thing you definitely want to get on every single run, maybe one of the most important buffs you can get, is improved flask HP restoration. This is going to increase your HP gained by your flask from 0.12 times to 1.3 times. Now, for the possible worst buff you could get in the entire game, at least for my opinion, the gradual restoration by flask, this is just going to slowly restore your HP. However, it will restore more HP, I have found, typically than just using your regular flask if you have a few HP buffs on it. Restoring your flask slowly seems to slowly restore everything in the HP bar up to a certain point. I have had this happen to me a few times, but I definitely don't recommend grabbing this. I typically always leave this on the table and never grab it in my runs. Now, you can also get one of my other favorite buffs, Poison and Rot Trigger Continuous Health Recovery. This is going to restore 7 HP per second for 20 seconds after Poison or Rot is activated. You can also get improved Stamina Recovery. This is going to increase your stamina recovery by 4 every second, and it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a really solid buff to have, especially when you're in these really long Everdark Sovereign fights. For buffs to Ultimate Art Gauge Charge Speed Up, this is going to improve the charge speed of your Ultimate Art Gauge, and it's going to increase your passive Ultimate Art Gauge charge by 1.06 times. Now, this is also stackable, so you can really get this a few times and get your Ultimate Art Gauge back very quickly, so this is definitely another very important buff. You can also get your character skill cooldown rate buff, and that's going to lower your character cooldown by 0.9%. This is also stackable once again, so definitely one of the more important buffs. Now, for the last 2 buffs, you can get the Favor of the Night, which is going to be a Night Horde event on your expeditions. However, this is going to cause you to improve the charging speed of your Ultimate Art Gauge. And for the last buff, Unifying Fate, this is going to allow you to use your flask, but it's also going to restore your FP, and this is not stackable. Now, I know I just threw a lot of information on you guys, and I hope that it was helpful. Once again, massive thanks to the creators of this spreadsheet. It has been supremely helpful not only to me, but now I'm hoping it's going to be very helpful to you guys. So if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification on the way out. If you want to see more content like this dealing with talismans and relics, let me know down in the comments below. And until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.